members will please come to the floor, because guess what? That time has arrived. Mr. Clerk, will you ring the bell? Well, good morning. We're going to have the morning roll call. Morning roll call. All members present will please vote green to signify your presence in the chamber, and Mr. Clerk will unlock the machines. All members voted. All members voted. All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? Doorkeepers, as soon as our guests come in, will you close those doors and keep them closed? Thank you, doorkeepers. As is our custom, we will begin our day with scripture reading and prayer by our chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. Our chaplain this morning will be introduced by the gentleman from the 49th House District, Chairman Chuck Martin, a dear old friend of mine. Chairman Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the House, it is my honor today to introduce our chaplain of the day, Chaplain Captain Patrick Day. Chaplain Day represents and serves as the battalion chaplain for the 2nd Battalion, 121st Regiment of the Georgia Army National Guard, where he provides spiritual leadership, counsel, and support to soldiers that serve our state and our nation. In uniform, he ministers to those who stand ready to defend us and defend our freedoms. In civilian life, he continues that mission every day. He is an ordained pastor in the Presbyterian Church, the owner of PTD Coaching and Consulting, and serves as Warrior Path Program Manager at Camp Southern Ground in Fayetteville, supporting veterans and first responders as they work through challenges that they often have after service. Patrick and his wife are parents of 3 children, and they call Alpharetta home. Please join me in welcoming Chaplain Captain Patrick Patrick Day, as he leads us in prayer this morning. Chaplain Captain Day, please.
Good to have you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning. It's certainly a privilege to be with you all today. 26 years ago, I experienced a miracle that greatly impacted my life in the way I view the world. My wife and I were expecting our first child and had just purchased our first home. One of the things that came with that home was an old swing set that had been constructed about the same time as the house, probably the early 1960s. The only part of the swing set that was not falling apart or filled with lethal doses of tetanus was the crossbeam. It was a 4x10 that was 10 feet long. My job before our child arrived was to dismantle this swing set and get rid of the pieces. I got rid of most of it, but that crossbeam, 10 feet long. As a new homeowner, I didn't have any tools to cut that thing into smaller pieces, and I was pretty sure that the sanitation department was not going to take it, but I figured I'd roll the dice. And so on garbage day, I took the cans out, I dragged that crossbeam out to the curb, and I courageously watched from the window as the truck pulled up. They got out, they took the cans, they dumped the cans, they put the cans back, they looked at the beam, they looked up at the house, they looked at the beam, they looked back to the house, then they started laughing and they got back in the truck and drove away. A few moments later, I walked outside and I'm standing over this massive piece of wood trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it when a pickup truck pulls up. And the guy jumps out, and it's George, who lived in the house behind me. And George looks at me excitedly, and he says, "Are you getting rid of that piece of wood?" I said, "I am." He said, "Can I have it?" I said, "As a matter of fact, you can." And I helped him load it into the back of his pickup truck, and as he pulled away, I thought to myself, "Thank you, Lord. A miracle." Now, I can see the look on your faces. You're thinking, "Chaplain, I feel bad for your soldiers because that is the most boring miracle story that I have ever heard in my life." And I would agree. But I've also come to believe over the years that that's the way miracles often happen. We sit back and we pray that the clouds will part. We pray for a Powerball level life-changing moment to happen, and yet so often God is operating much more subtly through the people around us. The miracle I was looking for lived right next to me. The miracle you're looking for might be sitting next to you right now. The miracle you're looking for might be across the aisle from you right now. In the Christian New Testament, Paul writes in his letter to the Galatians, chapter 6, verse 2, a very simple yet profound statement. He writes, "Bear one another's burdens, and in this way you fulfill the law of Christ." Bear one another's burdens, for this is what the Lord has commanded you to do. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you continue in your service, I implore you to not act with your own interests, but with the interests of the people of the state of Georgia. For they are indeed carrying heavy burdens. And the miracle that they're looking for could collectively be sitting in this room As you're able to, I would invite you to stand and let us pray. Almighty God, I thank you for this group of people gathered here today. I am grateful for their willingness to serve and dedicate their time to the people of this state. Guide their decisions, Lord, so that each thought, each word, each deed would reflect the love that you have for each person and for your whole creation. In your holy name, amen. And please remain standing as we pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Doorkeepers, you may unlock those doors, and members, you may join Chaplain Day in the South Ante room and thank him for his service. Chaplain Day, thank you for those words of encouragement. I hope we can put them to good use here. Thank you so very much. Members, our Doctor of the Day is brought to us by Representative Betsy Holland, and that's Dr. Kristen Higgins. We appreciate Dr. Higgins coming out and supporting us today. If you need her, call on her. Chair recognizes Chairman Hilton, the Chair of the Committee on Information and Audits. Chairman Hilton.
Thank you. Your Committee on Information Audits has read the journal of the previous legislative day and found it to be correct.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Hilton, the Chair of the Committee on Information Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to dispense with the reading of the journal? Hearing none, the reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? Hearing none, the journal is confirmed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day?
Representative Administration of the 104th moves following be established as the order of business in the first part of the period. Unanimous consents. Introduction of bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of House bills and resolutions. Second reading of bills and resolutions. Reports of standing committees. First reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions. Morning orders.
Is there any objection to adopting the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? Hearing none, the resolution is adopted. First reading of bills and resolutions, Mr. Clerk will read.
House Bill 1262 by Representative Lumsden to the 12th, Reeves to the 99th, Taylor to the 173rd, Gamble to the 15th, Williamson to the 112th, and others. Bill be titled Act to amend Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to insurance.
Insurance.
House Bill 1263 by Representative Lumsden to the 12th, Reeves to the 99th, Taylor to the 173rd, Gamble to the 15th, Williamson to the 112th. Bill be titled Act to amend Chapter 8 of Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to fees and taxes regarding insurance.
Insurance.
House Bill 1264 by Representative Bazemore, the 69th, Buckner, the 137th, McQueen, the 61st, Hughley, the 141st, and Cannon, the 58th. Bill be titled Act to amend Article 7 of Chapter 4, Title 49 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to medical assistance generally.
Public and Community Health.
House Bill 1265 by Representative McDonald, the 26th, Smith of the 18th, Crow, the 118th, Hitchens, the 161st, Kelly, the 16th, and others. The bill be titled Act to amend Article 15 of Chapter 6 of Title 40 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to serious traffic offenses.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
House Bill 1266 by Representative Ridley, the 6th, Rose, the 124th, Meeks, and the 178th. Bill be titled Act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 7 of Title 52 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions regarding registration, operation, and sales of watercraft.
Game, Fish, and Parks.
House Bill 1267 by Representative Corbett of the 174th, Ridley, the 6th, Powell of the 33rd, Mathis of the 133rd. Bill be titled Act to amend Title 40 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating motor vehicles and traffic.
Motor Vehicles.
House Bill 1268 by Representative Burchett of the 176th, Lever to the 123rd, Evstration of the 104th, and Evans of the 57th. Bill be titled Act to amend the Official Code of Georgia annotated so as to revise, modernize, correct errors or omissions in, and react the statutory portion of said code.
Code Revision.
House Bill 1269 by Representative Wade of the 9th, Dubnik of the 29th, Jones of the 25th, Paris of the 142nd, and Fleming of the 114th, and others. The bill be titled Act to amend Part 2 of Article 6 of Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to competencies and core curriculum under the Quality Basic Education Act.
Education. Clerk will suspend just for a moment. I realize y'all have the weight of the world on your shoulders. But please lower the octave just a moment or two, a little bit lower. I would hate to assign your bill to the wrong committee, but I'm on the verge of doing that, so I can't hear. Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 1270 by Representative Hitchens to the 161st, Crow, the 118th, McDonald, the 26th, Lumpson to the 12th, Werkheiser, the 157th. Bill be titled an Act to amend Article 2, Chapter 5 of Title 17 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to searches with warrants.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 1271 by Representative Irwin of the 32nd, Townsend, the 179th, Wade of the 9th, Corbett of the 174th, Persinger of the 119th, and others. A bill to be entitled an Act to amend Code Section 22-720 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to inspection of students' records by parents.
Education.
House Bill 1272 by Representative Jones, the 25th, Hilton of the 48th, Douglas the 78th, Williamson of the 112th, Mitchell of the 88th, and others. Bill be titled an Act to amend Title 7 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to banking and finance.
Banks and Banking.
House Bill 1273 by Representative Osteen of the 169th, Green of the 154th, Mathiak of the 82nd, Powell of the 33rd, and Taylor of the 173rd. Bill be titled an Act to amend Article 4, Chapter 34, Title 43 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to physician's assistants.
Health.
House Resolution 1298 by Representative Ridley, the 22nd, Byrd of the 20th, Thomas the 21st, Parsons the 44th, Jaspers the 11th, and others. A resolution honoring the life of Ms. Kara Jaden Atkins and dedicating an interchange in her memory.
Transportation.
House Resolution 1299 by Representative Wade of the 9th, Tarvin of the 2nd, Abstention of the 104th, Gaines of the 120th, and Clark of the 100th. A resolution expressing support for dissolving the United States Department of Education. Yes.
Special rules.
House Resolution 1300 by Representative Ford of the 170th, Cannon of the 172nd, Hatchett of the 155th, Jones of the 47th, Green of the 154th, and others. A resolution honoring the Honorable Penny Houston and dedicating a roundabout in her honor.
Mr. Clerk, if I'm not out of line, would you read the caption to House Resolution 1300 again? And members, listen to this.
House Resolution 1300 by Representative Ford of the 170th, Cannon of the 172nd, Hatchett of the 155th, Jones of the 47th, Green of the 154th, and others. A resolution recognizing the Honorable Penny Houston and dedicating a roundabout in her honor.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Thank you, members. Transportation.
Senate Bill 384 by Senator Hatchett of the 50th, Goodman of the 8th, Burns of the 23rd, Eccles of the 49th, Williams of the 25th, and others. The bill be titled an act to amend Article 2, Chapter 9, and Title 12 and Title 40 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to motor vehicle emission inspection and maintenance.
Motor vehicles.
Senate Bill 435 by Senator Goodman of the 8th, Watson of the 11th, Anderson of the 24th, Sims of the 12th, Summers of the 13th, and others. The bill will be entitled an act to amend the Official Code of Georgia Annotated so as to rename the Georgia Development Authority as the Georgia Agricultural Development Authority.
Agriculture and Consumer Affairs.
That completes first readers.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Second reading of bills and resolutions. Mr. Clerk will read.
House Bill 1245 by Representative Cameron of the 1st and Tarvin of the 2nd, a bill to amend an act providing for the election of members of the Board of Education of Walker County. House Bill 1246 by Representative Anderson of the 10th, a bill to provide a new charter for the city of Clayton. House Bill 1247 by Representative Reeves of the 99th, Powell of the 33rd, Tarvin of the 2nd, Horner of the 3rd, Donatucci of the 105th, and others, a bill relating to general provisions. House Bill 1248 by Representative Jackson of the 68th, Bell of the 75th, Mitchell of the 88th, Clark of the 108th, Park of the 107th, a bill relating to crimes and offenses. House Bill 1249 by Representative Santos of the 117th, a bill relating to American history recognition and significant documents. House Bill 1250 by Representative Hilton of the 48th, Hawkins of the 27th, Taylor of the 173rd, Dempsey of the 13th, Petrie of the 166th, and others, a bill relating to general provisions concerning the Department of Public Health. House Bill 1251 by Representative Davis of the 87th, Scott of the 76th, Schofield of the 63rd, Ali of the 106th, Taylor of the 92nd, a bill relating to regulation of specialized land transactions. House Bill 1252 by Representative Lallier of the 59th, Oliver of the 84th, Fry of the 122nd, Hagan of the 156th, McCollum of the 30th, and others, a bill relating to conveyances. House Bill 1253 by Representative Carpenter of the 4th, Jones of the 47th, Dickey of the 134th, Williams of the 148th, Hilton of the 48th, and others, a bill relating to charter school capital finance. House Bill 1254 by Representative Reeves of the 99th, Hatchett of the 155th, Wade of the 9th, Prince of the 132nd, Seabaugh of the 34th, and others, a bill to amend various titles of the OCGA. House Bill 1255 by Representative Smith of the 18th, Hong of the 103rd, Levert of the 123rd, and Panich of the 51st, a bill relating to criminal procedure and subpoenas and notice of to produce. House Bill 1256 by Representative Berry of the 56th, Herring of the 145th, and Queen of the 61st, Park of the 107th, Burnell of the 77th, and others, a bill relating to the Georgia Student Finance Authority. House Bill 1257 by Representative Rice of the 139th, Hilton of the 48th, Donatucci of the 105th, Ballard of the 147th, a bill relating to elementary and secondary education. House Bill 1258 by Representative Reese of the 140th, Hughley of the 141st, Rice of the 139th, Buckner of the 137th, Smith of the 138th, a bill to amend an act establishing the State Court of Muskogee County. House Bill 1259 by Representative Dubnik of the 29th, Irwin of the 32nd, Hatchett of the 155th, and Jones of the 25th, a bill relating to finance relative to the Quality Basic Education Act. House Bill 1260 by Representative Hagan of the 156th, Burchett of the 176th, Chastain of the 7th, Campbell of the 171st, Osteen of the 169th, and others, a bill relating to local government. House Bill 1261 by Representative Huddleston of the 72nd, Dickey of the 134th, Williamson of the 112th, Fry of the 122nd, canon of the 172nd, and others, a bill relating to tax exemptions. Senate Bill 146 by Senator Williams of the 25th, Hatchett of the 50th, Robertson of the 29th, Albers of the 56th, Mallow of the 2nd, and others, a bill relating to health, local government, and property. Senate Bill 150 by Senator Hickman of the 4th, Anna Navarte of the 31st, Gooch of the 51st, Kennedy of the 18th, Payne of the 54th, and others, a bill relating to retirement allowances, disability benefits, and spouses' benefits. Senate Bill 411 by Senator Still of the 48th, Watson of the 1st, and Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, a bill relating to professions and businesses. Through second readers.
Reports of standing committees, Mr. Clerk will read.
Representative Robert Dickey, the 134th District Chairman of the Committee on Agriculture and Consumer Affairs, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, the Committee on Agriculture and Consumer Affairs has had under its consideration the following bill of the House. It's instructed me to report the same back to the House the following recommendation. House Bill 1182, due passed by committee substitute, respectfully submitted. Representative Robert Dickey, the 134th District Chairman. Representative Sharon Cooper, the 45th District Chairman on Committee on Public and Community Health, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Public and Community Health has had under its consideration the following bills and resolutions of the House, and instructed me to report the same back to the House the following recommendation. House Bill 1096, due passed by committee substitute. House Bill 1118, due passed by committee substitute. House Resolution 713, due pass, respectfully submitted. Representative Sharon Cooper, the 45th District Chairman. Representative Scoggins, 14th District Chairman of the Committee on Special Rules, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Special Rules has had under its consideration the following bills and resolutions of the House. It's instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Resolution 1007, due pass. House Bill 620, due pass by committee substitute. House Resolution 763, due pass. House Resolution 1113, due pass. Respectfully submitted. Representative Scoggins of the 17th District Chairman. That completes the reading of the reports of standing committees.
All right, members, the House will come to order. We have an important invite resolution. Members will get close to your seats. Important conversations need to head out to the anteroom. Members, if I can have your attention, please. We're going to have a lot of morning orders in a few moments so we can recognize some of your friends, family, constituents from around the state. But right now, if I can get your attention, we're going to have an invite resolution. Not just a little bit of it, need all of it. That's your attention. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of House Resolution 1237, 1237?
House Resolution 1237 by Representative Bonner of the 73rd, Cannon of the 172nd, Rice of the 139th, Saints of the 180th, Ballot of the 147th, a resolution recognizing February 11th, 2026 as National Guard Day at the Capitol.
I'm going to introduce the gentleman that sponsors the resolution, Chairman Josh Bonner, who happens also to be a National Guardsman as well. Aren't I correct? I thought I was. So, y'all are taking? Please do. Chairman Bonner, you're recognized to speak to the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Hey, it's a great day in Georgia. Today we have members of your National Guard here at the Capitol. As you all know, the Georgia National Guard is an incredible organization whose members literally live or are constituents all throughout the state of Georgia. And so we are so grateful for what they do. With us today, we've got our Adjutant General, Major General Dwayne Wilson, the commander of our Army National Guard, Brigadier General Jason Fryman, the commander of our State Defense Force, Colonel Tony Dill, our Command Chief Master Sergeant Aaron Dent of our Air National Guard, along with Colonel Barry Simmons, Captains Reese Holman and Jackson Howard, and retired Colonel Joe Ferraro, our Deputy Adjutant General. And so at this time, I'd like to bring General Wilson to the podium for a few remarks. Thank you.
General, excuse me.
Sir, thank you so much.
How you doing, boss?
Sir, yeah,
Thank you.
good. Yeah, no, yes, sir. Hey, well, good morning. Speaker Burns, members of the House, thank you for this tremendous opportunity. You know, all of us here this morning, we're just excited to be here with you all during this year's legislative session, and certainly something as special as this to us, the proclamation of the National Guard Day at the Capitol on the 11th of February. So just honored to be here, and thank you all for what you do. As the senior servant of the Georgia National Guard, you know, I feel I'm just privileged to get to be here this morning to spend just a few minutes highlighting the incredible accomplishments of the almost 15,000 men and women of the Georgia Army National Guard, the Georgia Air National Guard, volunteers from our Georgia State Defense Force, as well as the federal and state civilian employees that make up our team. These men and women selflessly serve our state and our nation both at home and abroad with courage and distinction. Now, I'm a little biased, but we've got the very best National Guard out of the 54 states, territories, and the District of Columbia. Thank you. The leaders standing here with me this morning routinely receive national level recognition. Recently, the Georgia Army National Guard was selected as the 2025 Best National Guard Headquarters by the Association of the United States Army. It's okay to clap. Yeah, it's a big deal. Yeah. Hey, additionally, your Georgia Air National Guard has received the Air and Space Force Operational Excellence Award for the last 3 out of 5 years. As the primary combat reserve of both the Army and the Air Force, we're more globally engaged today than ever before. As I stand here with you this morning, we have soldiers and airmen that are serving in every geographic combatant command. not only protecting our own national interests, but assisting our partners and our allies in places like Europe, South America, the Pacific, Africa, and the Middle East. We're also providing additional security right here in the United States, along our own southern border, as well as bolstering additional security at our nation's capital. But that's not all that these folks and some of our teammates in the balcony have been doing. Unique to the National Guard is our ability to also respond at the direction of the governor right here at home when we're needed. Just 2 weeks ago, we assisted our local communities and our state partners during Winter Storm Fern. Our folks did an outstanding job helping those hardest hit by the storm in the northeastern counties of the state. 2 years ago, these same men and women played a critical role in the state's response and recovery efforts during Hurricanes Debbie, Helene, and Milton, working side by side with first responders and our county and state partners. Some of the teammates that have been doing all of this are with us here this morning. I'm going to ask them to stand if they're not already in the balcony, please. And I would ask all of you to please join me in recognizing these brave men and women for their unparalleled service and sacrifice to our state and our nation. Hey, I'm happy to inform you that your Georgia National Guard is also fully manned. The Georgia Army National Guard finished 2025 at almost 140% of their National Guard Bureau's recruiting mission. They enlisted more recruits into our formations than any other state. At the same time, the Georgia Air National Guard had their strongest recruiting year in 2.5 decades, strongest recruiting year in 25 years. And both Brigadier General Fryman, who commands the Army National Guard, as well as Chief Dent, who helps manage and lead the Air National Guard, they're doing all of this while continuing to successfully transform their formations to meet emerging missions, requirements, and responsibilities. We continue to be selected to receive new force structure as both the Army and the Air Force execute their largest transformation and modernization efforts in over 40 years. Just like Governor Kemp and all of you have worked tirelessly to make Georgia the best state in the nation to do business, we're working hard to make the Georgia National Guard the best place for new missions and new opportunities for our soldiers and our airmen. These new units will give our state added capability and capacity for the joint force and keep the Georgia National Guard at the forefront of readiness, modernization, and lethality. Finally, because of your actions, over several years, the actions of this body, we continue to successfully renovate and modernize our armories and readiness centers across the state. Most of our facilities, as you know, were built in the 1950s and 60s. This very much needed initiative, which was made possible with the support of Governor Kemp and you all, allows us to combine state and federal funds to complete these projects. We're now in our 6th year of this initiative, and by the end of 2026, we will have completed the renovation of almost 30 of our armories. We're also working very closely with our local and state leaders, some of you here this morning, to explore the possibility of building brand new armories when and where those opportunities exist. So thank you all for your continued support with both of these efforts. In closing, it's certainly not lost on us that one of the most important components of our continued success now and into the future is the support that we get from you all. So thank you for all that you've done. Thank you for all that you're continuing to do and all that you will do in the future for our soldiers, our airmen, our families, and our civilian workforce as we navigate 2026. Rest assured that we're well equipped to successfully meet any challenge that lies ahead. Georgians should continue to take great pride in knowing that their National Guard is always ready and always there. Sir, thank you very much for a little bit of time this morning.
We're going to take a photo.
Yeah, okay.
General. There's most stars and bars and declarations up here than I think I've ever seen. So that just speaks to the quality of the individuals and to this force, our Georgia Guards, you know, meeting the demands around the world for our national security, but especially, as you said, right here at home. Hey, y'all, these are our neighbors, the men and women of the Guards. They give up their time to help keep us safe, but also come to be with us and help us, assist us when it comes time when natural disasters occur. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you to the men and women of the Georgia Guards. We're indebted to you, and we look forward to continue supporting you in every way we can. Thank y'all for being here today. National Guard Day at the Capitol. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Members, very much appreciate y'all giving our National Guard your attention. Thank you very much. Now we're going to move on. Members, I hope you'll join me in welcoming a former member of this House back to the chamber, Representative Chuck Williams. Chuck, good to have you back, my friend. From over in Watkinsville, Georgia. Good to have you, Chuck. Appreciate you. Members, we'll begin our morning orders with Representative Ali for our 2 minutes on Black history. Now, members, we have more than a slew. So y'all are going to have to pay attention. 30 to 45 seconds. We have some very important people in the gallery. I know you can do it. So y'all start practicing now so you can be brief but to the point. Representative Ali is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of this House, today, during Black History Month, we honor a woman whose intellect, courage, and conviction helped shape the moral and educational foundation of this nation, Anna Julia Cooper. On the screen, you will see her image. Born into slavery in 1857, Dr. Cooper rose in a society designed to silence her. Yet, she chose to speak powerfully, unapologetically, and with purpose. She became an author, educator, scholar, and an activist, dedicating her life to proving that education is not just a tool for advancement, but a pathway to freedom. In 1892, she published A Voice from the South by a black woman of the South, end quote. One of the earliest as most influential works of its time. Through it, she argued that the progress of a nation is measured by the progress of its most marginalized, whose voices had long been ignored. Her words were not just a commentary, however, they were a call to action. Anna Julia Cooper once said, quote, "The cause of freedom is not the cause of a race or a sect, a party or a class. It is the cause of humankind, the very birthright of humanity," end quote. That truth still guides us today. Freedom, dignity, and opportunity must belong to everyone, or they belong to no one. And today we also recognize her sisterhood in Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, an organization that continues her legacy of scholarship, service, and leadership. Dr. Cooper believed in education could transform the world because of pioneers like her. Doors once closed are now open, and it is our responsibility to walk through them and to hold them open for others. May we honor her not only with remembrance, but with action. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Ali. Chairman Green, are you still on the floor or are you out visiting? There he is. The Dean of this House, Chairman Gerald Green. Give the gentleman your attention. We have, this is a pretty important group, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe it is.
Chairman Green and at least one friend, Chairman Mathiak. Chairman Green is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know there's more than one that should be down here. This is Senior Day at the Georgia State Capitol. Good morning and welcome to the Georgia State Capitol. Today we proudly recognize Senior Day, a moment set aside to honor the men and women whose wisdom, whose service and sacrifice have shaped our families, our communities, and our great state. Georgia seniors are not just a part of our history, you are a central part of our present and our future. You built the schools we learned in, the businesses that we employ. Your voices continue to matter. As lawmakers, we are reminded today of our responsibility to protect and strengthen programs that support healthy, aging, affordable health care, safe communities, and economic security for seniors across Georgia. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless the great state of Georgia. Would our seniors in the balcony please rise where we can honor you? Okay. I know it. Did that do it? All right.
Thank you, members. Welcome, seniors. Senior Day at the Capitol. Good to have y'all. Representative Doreen Carter is recognized for a morning order. Help me on the time now.
Good morning and thank you. It's Senior Day and I am so excited to have visiting with us the East DeKalb seniors, formerly Bruce Street seniors, and I believe they are up in the balcony. Oh, they're over there and over here. Yes. And you know, this is a lively bunch. So we had breakfast the other week and went into a bingo game, and they don't play about their bingo. So let me tell you, thank you guys for joining us, for coming to the People's House, and I'm glad to be in the number of the seniors. Amen. The rest, we enjoy us being a senior. We yield the well.
Representative Rhonda Taylor is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to recognize an amazing group that's here from Rockdale County. If the Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America is in the gallery, would you please stand so you can be recognized? Yes. The week of February the 9th through the 13th has been designated National FCCLA Week, and we are here to just welcome you and to say thank you for all that you do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Yerda and Chokus recognized for a morning order. Representative Herring, you're on deck. and friends. Representative Dawson, Representative Green.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, we want to recognize Albany-Daugherty County Day at the Capitol. Albany and Daugherty County plays a vital role in the ever-expanding role in making Georgia the #1 state to do business. Albany and Daugherty County is known for having a number of innovative small businesses, the Marine Base, global industries including Procter & Gamble, Molson Coors, Mars Wrigley Confection, Georgia Pacific, Thrush Aircraft, Thermacare Attractions, and a growing tourism industry. Also, it has many outdoor recreational opportunities and natural resources. World-class health care in the Phoebe Putney healthcare system, as well as state-of-the-art educational institutions. I want to welcome the group from Albany. I'm not sure if they're in the gallery or not, but we surely want to recognize them. Matt Reed, the Chamber CEO, and I know the Chairman of the County Commission, Lorenzo Hurd's here, along with the County Commissioners. Albany Mayor Bo Dura and the Commission are also here, and a number of business leaders are also with them, and community partners. They had the biggest group I think they've ever had at the Capitol, and just want to welcome them today.
Glad to have them.
All right.
Long drive up here. Welcome. We appreciate y'all being here. So we're going to give him a morning order for every 20 years of service. So Chairman Green, that means you get 2. Chairman Green is recognized for another morning order. Now, gentlemen, suspend for a minute. Now, you all have plenty of time to practice now. We do have a little bit of a time crunch here, so be practicing for your morning order before you come up so you can hold it down to an appropriate time. Chairman Green.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I appreciate you doing this. We have a group that really has done something very unique that others may want to copy in the state of Georgia. We used seniors at a school to become certified poll watchers this last year. And they have traveled 250 miles to be recognized this morning. And the individual who has worked so hard to bring them is Ron Foskey, Michael Rogerson, Mary Jean Albritton, and Peggy Thompson. They did an outstanding job in the elections this last year, and y'all want to certainly copy something that has become a great opportunity to help a county find poll watchers. If you're in the balcony, please stand there. There they are. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you very much. We appreciate y'all's participation, not only here today, but in voting. Thank you so much. Representative Herring and friends.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. They say windows are the eyes of a home. Here in Middle Georgia, where I reside, they've also become windows to our future. For more than 30 years, YKK-AP America has been part of Georgia's story. What began as an investment has grown into a lasting partnership that continues to strengthen our community. Today, we celebrate a powerful new chapter. With $125 million invested in Bibb County, YKK has opened 400,000 square feet manufacturing facilities in Macon-Bibb. Today, we want to honor them with their presence and thank you for your economic contribution to not only Middle Georgia, but to our great state. Thank you so much. If you would please rise, and if you all would please help me welcome YKK-AP. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
YKK, thank you for your contribution and all the great jobs. Thank y'all very much. Thanks for being here. Representative Vance Smith, over in Harris County, Georgia. Representative Vance Smith is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First off, I'd like to tell y'all this is Kia Day, and I have to apologize. Come on up here. I got my gang from Troup County here, our delegation, and Debbie's coming. Kia Day, and I apologize to Section D. We're off a few numbers, but they're working on that right now. You got them? Okay, good deal. We got them. So that's from Kia. We're happy that it's Kia Day. I know we have some in the gallery from Kia. We'd like to recognize them. They're waving on the back wall up there. There you go. And let me tell you about Kia. Kia's been there 16 years. Happy to have Stewart here that leads it, the CEO. He's been there 20. We got our former Congressman Drew Ferguson here and Tim Page also with Kia. We're happy to have them here, and my light's flashing, but they employ 3,200 people, y'all. 14,000 in the suppliers in the whole area, so it's big for the state of Georgia. We appreciate their contribution to our state. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Smith. Thanks to Kia, they're a big part of not just that part of the state, all over our state. Members, if you will help me welcome former Congressman Drew Ferguson to the People's House. Drew, we're glad to have you back. Good to see you, friend. Representative Osteen and Representative Gamble. Representative Gamble. Oh, there he is. Ladies recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today is a special day at the Capitol. It's CHD Day at the Capitol, and it's sponsored annually by our friends at CHOA. I'm honored to have a young man that I have known and loved his whole life. Ben Lingenfelter is the living proof of what courage, perseverance, and faith in God's healing hand can accomplish. Born with a congenital heart defect known as transposition of the great arteries, Ben has faced many, many challenges throughout his life. He's joined today by his parents and my dear friends, Nathan and Kelly Lingenfelter, and his brand new fiancee, Molly, last weekend. To learn more about, yes, that's great. It's a great celebration. To learn more about Ben's Foundation, look on the flyer on your desk. I'm going to turn it over to Representative Gamble.
Thank you, Representative Osteen. I'm honored to have the Parker family here from Cartersville, Georgia. And Brody, I want you to wave your hand up there because Brody is a miracle. Our community stood side by side with them, prayed with them, and we're just honored that y'all could be here today and we could recognize y'all. So thank you for coming today. And we do have a resolution that we've done to honor the day.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank y'all, members. That is a miracle. Thanks for everyone being here. So we want to recognize Representative Santos and the Henry County delegation. Representative Santos, Henry County delegation. There she is. Henry County, if you're a part of that delegation, lady will suspend just for a moment. Representative Meeks, Chairman Meeks, you're on deck. Lay one more. He could run faster than that on the football field, I'm sure. Representative Santos is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We rise today to recognize Youth Leadership Henry, who is visiting the Capitol with us today. These students are participating in a leadership program focused on civic engagement and community involvement. The visit today gives them the opportunity to observe the legislative process and learn more about our state government. Mr. Speaker, I ask that the House join me in welcoming the Youth Leadership Henry to the Capitol. If you are here, please stand so we can acknowledge you. They are probably in the Senate, but we are excited that you're with us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Thank you for recognizing them. Representative Meeks, Chairman Meeks, is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Earlier in the week, we recognized the Youth Leadership Wayne group that was here for the Chamber of Commerce. This week, we have the adult group here, Leadership Wayne, Chamber of Commerce. Thank y'all for being here. Mayor Jason Weaver, Mr. Speaker, is still here. I think he's going home later today. But Leadership Wayne, thank y'all for being here. Mayor Weaver, thank you. You do well, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Lim. Gentleman representing Marvin Lim is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have had several members the past couple of weeks, including Representative Taylor earlier recognize FCCLA. Again, that is Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America. And today I'm happy to be welcoming another one. Chef Jay Richardson and Meadow Creek High School's FCCLA are here. Last year, they won second in the state's Pro Start competition. That's the National Restaurant Association's Culinary Arts and Restaurant Management program. Their members also include winners at last October's Georgia National Fair Culinary Contests, in the state Knife Skills Competition, and multiple qualifiers for our state's FCCLA competition coming up in March, on which we wish you well. Will you all stand up and let's give them a warm welcome. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Thank you, young people. Culinary, that's pretty cool. I can assure you these House members love to eat, so good luck to y'all. Keep working hard. Representative Lupton and friends.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, and
Roberts is going to join you.
that is right, and friends. Today we have the privilege of recognizing an organization that has spent 25 years investing in something priceless, the health, confidence, and future of Georgia's children. For a quarter of a century, Health Empowers has partnered with our schools, our families, and our communities to ensure that young people have access to nutrition, physical activity, and the knowledge they need to thrive. Their work reaches nearly every district in our state. What makes Health Empowers truly remarkable is not only what they do, but how they do it. They listen to young people. They invite students to the table through youth advisory boards, advocacy training, and leadership development. They understand that the best solutions for Georgia's future will be shaped by the voices of Georgia's youth. Please, on behalf of the Georgia General Assembly, join with me in saying thank you to Health Empowers for 25 years of service and for helping to make a healthier Georgia. Thank you for joining us here today. Health Empowers. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Congratulations on 25 and many more. You do good work. Thanks. Representative Willis is recognized. Representative Wayford Baker, you're on deck. Ladies recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As we know, it is Senior Day, but in the city of Atlanta, today is Older Atlantans Day. I want to extend gratitude along with my colleagues for our seniors up in the balcony coming today to remind us that our seniors deserve more and not less. They deserve resources, they deserve access, and they remain the backbone of this community, and this delegation remains committed to amplifying your issues and to viewing you as stakeholders of this community. Colleagues, would you please join me in welcoming the backbone of Atlanta, the senior community of Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you for being here today. We'll never forget you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Representative Wayford Baker, there she is, and friends.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to recognize an outstanding educator from House District 64, Dr. Latoya Thomas, an information technology teacher at New Manchester High School, who has been named the 2025-2026 Douglas County School System Teacher of the Year. Dr. Thomas is known for transforming her classroom into a space where innovation, creativity, and possibility thrive. Her dedication to student success, leadership, and service has earned her numerous honors, including being named Georgia Business Education Association Teacher of the Year and FBLA New Teacher of the Year. Her impact reaches far beyond the classroom, inspiring students to believe in themselves and to serve their community with purpose. Members, please join me in recognizing and celebrating Dr. Latoya Thomas for her exceptional contributions to education in Douglas County and in Georgia. If Dr. Thomas will please stand up. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Keep working, Dr. Thomas. Appreciate your work. Thanks for what you're doing. Chairman Scoggins, Gunther, and New will talk about some judges.
Already got the red button.
We have one more.
Judge Gutter.
I don't think the former judges He's out speaking to some judges, I guess.
Thank you, Mr.
Recognized.
Speaker.
And friends.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have two very important groups today that are elected officials, just like we are, that are here at the Capitol. We have the magistrate judges of Georgia that are here. Hopefully you got to go by and get some breakfast this morning in 216. But we also have the probate judges here today, and they will be serving varsity hot dogs in 216 at 11:30. So if you have a chance, go by and pick up a hot dog and hopefully see your probate judge. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Corbett, LaHood, and Representative Dexter Sharper. Hey, we got some, you boys cooking some quail tonight? All right. Oh. Got all of y'all from Lowndes that represent part of Lowndes County. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Speaker. And members, we want to remind you of the annual Bird Supper, Lowndes Valdosta Bird Supper, tonight at the train depot right over here. We'd love for you to come. We've been in the woods, gathering these quail. Our shoulders are hurting from shooting so many, and so we'd hate to do all this hard work and you not come and enjoy partaking of these quail with us. So it's always a good time. It's some of South Georgia's finest that you'll get to network with, and look forward to seeing you.
Whip Burchett, do you have a morning order? Let's hear it. Thanks, this gentleman will suspend for. Thanks to Lowndes County, very, very important part of our state. A lot of great things going on in Valdosta and Lowndes, that whole area. So thanks for being here, and thanks for hosting us tonight. Whip Burchett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have with us today one of our class for Waycross leadership up in the corner. Will you stand up and be recognized? As a former member of this program, I'm proof that folks from South Georgia can lead in several different capacities in this state, and we very much appreciate you and want to recognize you. Thank you very much. That is questionable. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Crow and friends. You have friends? Couple. Friends of Chairman Crow. Oh, yeah. They're coming out of the woodwork.
Yep. I thought I only had one, Mr. Speaker, but there's some more. Thank you.
The gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the interest of time, I'm not going to read this entire resolution, but what I have here is a resolution recognizing February the 11th, 2026 as Police Chiefs and Heads of Law Enforcement Agencies Recognition Day at the Capitol. Many of you, as you were walking around this morning, probably noticed that there were many of our police chiefs and heads of law enforcement agencies in the Capitol today. I would suggest that there's probably at least one from all of our districts, and so I would encourage you to make sure you stop by and see them. They're going to be around most of the day. There are many of them in the gallery, some of them that I policed with many, many years ago. We have agreed not to tell any stories about each other due to mutually assured destruction. But they are here and in the gallery, and I'd love to welcome them. If you would please stand and help me welcome them to the Capitol. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We'll yield the will.
All right, our police chiefs. Good folks, good crowd here today, too, so we appreciate them. Thanks for recognizing them. Representative Carlton Howard, Chairman Newton, and some other folks from Richmond County. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Because of that crowd that you mentioned, our group is outside. Our group is outside trying to get in, but please welcome, you get a chance moving around from Richmond County. We have a group from the National Action Network with about 50 young people that are here touring the Capitol, learning more about their house, their democracy. So share with them. They'll be in 318 if you want to go shake some hands from Augusta. We'd love to have you. There are also some Board of Education members from the Richmond County Board of Education sharing with us today. So let's welcome them as we honor their presence.
Representative Miles, Good to have you there. Chairman Prince, welcoming our folks from Richmond County. Thank y'all for doing that, Representative Howard. We're always good to have home folks here. Chairman Noel Williams, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to recognize a group in the balcony. I'd like to recognize a group from in the balcony from Crisp Academy, a group of seniors up there. Glad to have y'all here with us today, and Banny Hulsey, their teacher. Also, there's a group from Crisp County, distinguished group. We're having over in the Blue Room tonight from 5 to 7 hors d'oeuvres. So when you go eat your quail, stop by the Blue Room and meet with some of Crisp County's finest. We're having refreshments and hors d'oeuvres, and thank you all for being here today.
You'll be welcome on either end of the depot tonight, right? Thanks for Cordeo, Crisp County, and leadership. Thank y'all for being here. We appreciate y'all hosting us. Chairman Martin. Chairman Chuck Martin, recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, to follow up on the Police Chief Day, I stand before you to recognize an exceptional public servant that we passed House Resolution 1241. I am proud to recognize Chief John Robinson, Public Safety Director of the City of Alpharetta, who is Georgia's 2025 Outstanding Police Chief of the Year. Welcome, Chief Robinson, over to my right on the House floor with us today. Chief was appointed to lead Alpharetta's Public Safety Department in 2017, and since that time, he has provided steadfast leadership, strategic vision, and unwavering accountability to our community. His leadership is grounded in academic preparation and at Georgia State University. Please join me in welcoming Chief John Robinson, our 2025 Police Chief of the Year. Welcome.
Representative Gaines. Representative Houston Gaines from Clark County is recognized, and friends, I think. More than one.
Thank you,
Gentleman's
Mr. Speaker.
recognized.
I have the Athens delegation up here with me. I want to recognize the Family and Consumer Sciences folks. They're up in the gallery. We have the Dean of the UGA College of Family and Consumer Sciences, the President of the Georgia Association of Family and Consumer Sciences, the President of the Georgia Association of Teachers of Family and Consumer Sciences, and the President of the Georgia Extension Association of Family and Consumer Sciences, and the Executive Director of GAFCCLA. A lot of acronyms. So I just want to recognize them. We do have a resolution. I just want to say thank you all for what you do every single day for students and families across the state. Thank you all so much.
Representative Berry is recognized for a morning order. Chairman Chokas, recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have as our guests today the AP government class and members of the student government from Southland Academy. Okay, guys, y'all stand up. We're going to recognize you today. They're accompanied by the Dean of Students, William Rooks, Jane Kraft, and Stephanie Kennebrew. I want to point out something about our students and the policy at Southland Academy. They have already implemented a no-sell from bell-to-bell policy, and it's been going on for well over a year. So I commend you and your leadership for what you're doing, and I'm glad that you're at the Capitol. Thanks for coming to visit. Go Raiders! Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Welcome to the People's House. We appreciate y'all traveling up to be with us. Hope you have a good day with us and safe travels home. Representative Donna Tucci. You have a morning order? You have friends with you, too. At least one? Okay, Representative Ray, we appreciate you being here. Ladies recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I'm here to recognize Tequila Middle School's Future Business Leaders of America. This is a standout example of leadership, excellence, and service. They have top 2 state chapter rankings and back-to-back Gold Chapter of the Year recognitions. Principal Bussey and parents are with the group. And Mr. Speaker, this organization operates the Falcon's Nest. They manage daily operations of real-world services and products. We have future entrepreneurs in the house. Will you recognize them, please?
Thank you for recognizing future entrepreneurs. We're always needing entrepreneurs. Thanks for being here. Representative Mac Jackson and Representative Richardson, Representative Gary Richardson, Representative Mac Jackson. Is the McDuffie Chamber here today? Awesome. Thompson, Georgia, good to have them. They're going to be recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today we rise to welcome Leadership McDuffie to the Capitol today. We're here to say that they are a great group of young people from the Chamber of Commerce. Gary.
Also, a little taste of McDuffie today. We've got a local business on everybody's desk, cheese straws. I hope y'all enjoy those, and that's a locally owned McDuffie County business. Thank you, sir.
Won't you rise and help us to welcome them to the Capitol?
Very vibrant part of our state, McDuffie County and Thompson. Appreciate y'all being here. Representative Edna Jackson from down in Chatham County, Georgia, Savannah, Georgia.
I'm asking the members
President
of our
Worrell, if you'll come up here with me.
if they will, if they will join me, I am happy.
And
to-
friends. Let's get your friends up here first.
And friends.
Savannah State friends, come on down.
Come on, oh, you asked for a lot. It's a bunch. I would first like to ask that you please welcome a wonderful group that's here. We have members of our foundation, members of the, and please stand up, members of the National Alumni Association. I can't remember all of them, and our students, the most in the group of important people. Will you please rise? Who else? Yeah, they're there. All right. There they go. Oh, cheerleaders. Awesome. Mr. Chairman, these are our young people from the state of Georgia and other parts of these United States of America. We welcome you here, and Mr. Chairman, thank you again for allowing us to come and talk about some, Mr. Speaker, thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Speaker. Thank you again for allowing us to come up. There are more. The other part of our group is now in the Senate. So thank you, and I don't want you to raise that button. Thank you so much.
Where is Savannah State located?
Savannah State is located in the hostess city of the South, Savannah, Georgia.
All right, I knew you had it. Welcome, and we also want to welcome the president of Savannah State, President Worrell. He's a good man, doing a great job. Mr. President. I know y'all know this, but sometimes fact is stranger than fiction. That's our last morning order, believe it or not. That's a fact. We're moving on to the rules calendar. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 986?
House Bill 986,
by Representative Jones, the 25th to be entitled an act to amend Part 2A of Article 13 and Chapter 6 of Title 40 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to electric, personal assistant, mobility devices, and personal delivery devices so as to revise operation procedures and restrictions. This bill having referred to the Committee on Technology and Infrastructure Innovation, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chairman Todd Jones is recognized to present House Bill 986. Gentlemen, suspend just for a minute. Gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, 4 years ago, we led the way for Georgia into the fifth industrial revolution by putting personal delivery devices into the statute. So essentially, these are robots. Many of you know them as the coolers with four wheels all around Atlanta. We've learned over the last 4 years there's a couple places where we needed to update the code for safety and for efficiency, and we believe 986 hits a fine line there. I would appreciate your support, and I would appreciate your consideration. At this time, Mr. Speaker, I'll stand for questions.
That was pretty quick. You surprised me. Gentleman has a couple of questions if he'll yield.
Yes, sir.
Representative Jasmine Clark to your left is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes.
I know this is a very simple bill and it doesn't change much, but I'm very curious about how we are sure that increasing the speed at which these devices can be on sidewalks is safer, because I have been hearing reports of these robots unfortunately colliding with people on sidewalks. And is it safer if they're colliding at them at a faster speed, almost double the speed?
Representative, thank you so much for the question. I want to inform my colleagues, the entire industry plus Georgia DOT plus GMA plus ACCG worked with us to make these changes. We also looked to other states that followed the state of Georgia. We took leadership. They went ahead and followed us. Many of them went to 10 to 12 miles an hour. So in a sense, laboratories of democracy, federalism at its finest, we looked at other states and said we weren't going to go 10 to 12. We were just going to trim it up to 7. More importantly, or equally important to the safety, is our ability to keep efficiency. By increasing it on the crosswalks, we're able to move them across the crosswalks faster and move traffic, especially here in downtown and midtown Atlanta, at a more efficient pace.
Does the gentleman further yield?
Yes.
Just quickly, I just want to point out, I heard a report the other day that the flags on them are kind of at eye length, and people with visual impairments were, when these things were colliding with them, they were actually hitting them in the face. And so that is the concern that I have, is by increasing the speed, we increase the likelihood of some of these injuries. Did y'all contemplate any of this when y'all were making these decisions?
So Representative Clark, thank you again for that question. First of all, we obviously do not want anyone hit with the flags or with the PDD. One of the things that we did in terms of those that have visual impairments, if you look at lines 16 and 17, instead of the PDD only eliciting sound during the approach to an individual, we are now doing constant sound for the visually impaired. So this was discussed during the off-season. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gentleman, yield for a couple more questions.
One more, sir.
Chairman Parsons is recognized for a question to your left.
Thank you, Speaker. Gentleman, yield.
Yes, sir.
I just heard you respond to a question. I believe you said the speed was being raised to 7 miles per hour. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
I was just curious, what is the, and I don't know this, what is the speed, the normal walking speed of a human being on the sidewalk? Do you know what that is?
Well, obviously there's a lot of conditions there, right? A teenager at 18 going downhill is going to go about 4, whereas my mother at 84 is going to go about 2.5. But why don't we call it 3 to 3.5, sir?
So just one more question. So this
Yes, sir.
these things, which I've had a problem with, is not true. Will go faster, will be faster than a human being normally would walk.
That is correct. On certain instances, that's absolutely correct. However, I want to stress to the body that this speed is still about 40 to 50% less than what other states are doing, and we're seeing a lot of good safety within them and making sure that our citizens are safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, Thank you so much, and I yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted, if so. All members voted. For what purpose does Representative Bell rise? Waves. All members now voted. If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of House Bill 986, the yeas are 164, the nays are 3. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of House Bill 907?
House Bill 907 by Representative Jones, the 47th, and others to be entitled an act to amend Article 31C of Chapter 2, Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated the Completion Special Schools Act, so as to require certain local school systems to either be a party to a collaborative operation agreement with the completion of special school or provide certain education programs. This bill having referred to the Committee on Education, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by Rules Committee substitute.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Pro Tem Jan Jones is recognized to present House Bill 907.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I'd like your consideration of House Bill 907, which makes further changes to what many of you will recall. We used to call them alternative schools. We now call them completion schools. They are public schools that, in partnership with local school systems, provide options for students at risk of dropping out of school. And every couple of years we've had to come back and make a few changes to make sure that students have full knowledge and access to these schools. So just to give you a little background, it used to be 3, Foothills, Mountain Ed, and Coastal Plains, that served numerous school systems throughout the state. With Chairman Chris Irwin's help, we fashioned a system of 7 zones in the state so that ultimately and eventually we hope every student in Georgia that is behind in school, in high school, or at risk of dropping out, could be a student for whom just the traditional school is not working, would have access to attend classes at night, sometimes online, but with staff and teachers that support them. Since the 3 original ones, and since we passed some changes a couple years ago, a new zone opened up of completion schools in the Albany area. This fall, the Columbus region will have access to these, and Macon is in the process, that region, of forming one for 2027. After 2027, the only area that will not have opened, it appears, will be the Atlanta metro area, which is made up of much larger school systems. Some of them may not want to, but certainly we want to encourage them to, because not all of the school systems in the metro area offer nighttime classes to students. What this bill does is 4 things. It will, on line 61, it will make absolutely clear that school systems have to notify parents and teachers of this option so that they know they have another public school option if this would meet their needs. They have to notify them twice a year electronically and have a physical presence in the school, in their home school, so that they know they could attend a completion school. On line 74, and this is really important to students, some students do not want to go back to their home school if they've quit. So they will not have to go back to their home school, and it clarifies that parents shall have the right to register their students at one of these schools if they feel like it would meet their needs. And they could go to, if they've quit or haven't been attending school, they can go directly to the completion school to register. And in the electronic age, the completion school can set up the registration with the home school. In Section 2, this is particularly important and relevant right now for Rockdale County. Rockdale is in the Atlanta zone, and they want to utilize Foothills, which is based in Athens, to set them up to participate. And so this is, frankly, an important change that will allow any school system, which primarily would mean the metro area after 2027, to partner with an existing completion school so that their students could participate as well. And then lastly, on Section 3, it will require school systems that are in a zone that has a completion school to provide what I colloquially refer to as leads to the school, completion school, of students that are chronically absent or have quit, so that they, who are best able to do this, can reach out directly to the students and their parents to see if this might be something that would interest them. You know, sometimes kids will quit and they want nothing to do with school, and maybe a few months later they're a little bored. They and their parents might be open to re-enrolling, or, well, re-enrolling at their home school, but registering at the completion school. That is all the changes, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Lady has a couple of questions. Representative Al Williams to your left is recognized for a question.
Yes, sir.
Will the gentle lady yield?
Certainly.
Is it not true that for years Youth Challenge had a completion school and kids were able to get their high school diplomas, and many thousands of students, particularly even here in the metro Atlanta area, and that this expansion certainly will benefit as we see more and more students with high school degrees?
Absolutely.
Diplomas, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you for the question.
Leader Hughley is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentle lady yield?
Yes, I do.
My question refers to the required leads, and how does that square with student privacy in terms of their information?
I mean, it's all within the context of a public school. And so it simply allows them to provide it to a public school that they have an affiliation with. They've agreed to partner with them. It would be no different than if the public school to which the student would be enrolled were to reach out to them. They've partnered and have an established relationship with all the privacy that goes along with that. It's not a private entity that they're giving this information to. And to be honest, this was happening for years with the original three, what we referred to as alternative schools. And what they've found is, under the new framework, there is sometimes, and I hope it is rare, but sometimes there are school systems that do not encourage the students to reconsider and come back and have a second chance. And I think this will assure, looking at it from the student's best interest, not the school system's best interest. I mean, frankly, it's in the student's best interest that they have folks who care enough about them to reach out and just say, is the time right for you to come back? Well, with that, Mr.
He has one more question.
Okay.
Chairman Irwin, recognized for a question.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentle lady yield?
Certainly.
First of all, great bill. Thank you for this. Is it not true that completion schools are helping thousands of kids that had given up in school graduate?
Yes, sir. That is true.
Again, thank you for this bill.
Thank you. And some of these have just, I'll just close in saying, these are measures we've considered over the last few years, and sometimes the time is just not right. We needed to see what was happening, and we've heard from the completion schools, we've heard from systems, we've heard from families that might not have been aware, particularly in regions where you create a new, like up in the Mountainette area, foothills, they've had these for years. But with these new ones opening in the Macon area, the Columbus region, the Albany region, they may not be as aware of it. And just so you know, students are eligible to attend these until the age of 22. They register ages 16 and 17, and they're still enrolled at their home school technically. But once they reach the age of 18 and they're a full adult, they've been counted as a dropout at that point, and then they can go and enroll directly. And you want these kids to know they still have that option even after they're the age of 18. With that, Mr. Speaker, I would ask for your favorable consideration. I'll yield the well.
The ladies yielded the well. There were some more questions. I'm sure if you'll speak to the Pro Tem, she'll answer those questions. And Pro Tem Jones, I want to thank you because I know personally how long you've worked on getting this bill and perfecting this language and protecting this important resource for our youth in the state. So thank you for your service on this. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to withdrawing the committee substitute? Hearing none, the committee substitute is withdrawn. Is there any objection to adopting the substitute offered by the Committee on Rules? Hearing none, the Rules Committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? For what purposes, Representative Holly rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, is it not true that while this bill is excellent at providing children with an opportunity to be able to continue their education, what it also does is by providing them with that access, encourages them to stay out of trouble, and that actually, while this is not only good for education, it's also good for maintaining good public safety?
I know of the gentleman's passion for everything he just said. Thank you for your question. You are exactly correct. Have all members now voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 907? The yeas are 170, the nays are 0. This bill, having received a requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Congratulations and thank you. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of House Bill 5757?
House Bill 57 by Representative Cameron of the first and others to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 16-222 of the official code of Georgia Annotated relating to incest so as to include step-grandparent and step-grandchild relationship. This bill having referred to the Committee on Judiciary and Non-Civil. That committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Representative Mike Cameron is recognized to present the bill. Representative Cameron.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning. Good morning, colleagues. HB 57 is a bill that we previously passed in 2023, which adds the step-grandparent, step-grandchild relationship to the Georgia Code related to incest. This came from a case in our neck of the woods up in northwest Georgia where a case could not be prosecuted. We found this loophole, and simply we want to close it by adding this to the law. Mr. Speaker, that's the bill. I'll be glad to answer questions.
Gentleman has no questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well and ask for your favorable consideration. Thank you.
Thank you for the bill. Gentleman represents the 1st House District. Thank you, Representative Cameron. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of House Bill 57, the yeas are 168, the nays are 0. This bill, having received a requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Members, if you'll pay attention, I'm going to recognize a member for a motion on some further action. Chairman Petrie is recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that we agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 117.
Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption?
House Bill 117 by Representative Petrie, the 166 and others to be entitled an act to amend Article 13 of Chapter 2 entitled 26 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to food service establishments so as to require notification of the country of origin of seafood items.
Seafood. Since you're from the coast, I guess you can explain this. The gentleman is recognized to explain the Senate substitute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and indeed, this is a great bill for the Georgia coast, and I want to do something, Mr. Speaker, if I may. I want to recognize Ms. Paige Morrison before we take this vote, the former president of the Georgia Fishermen's Association of Georgia and the Southeastern Shrimpers Alliance, to work with me as we work to provide transparency to consumers and to ensure that we help our Georgia fishermen. She passed away recently and helped me to find a solution to this problem. She was an enormous asset in our community, and I just want to recognize here today. Mr. Speaker, this bill has come back with a slight change, which is why it's back here. That change I made in the Senate at the request of the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities. And it is very simply what you see on lines 12 and 13. We are simply excluding, remember, our goal here is to get food service establishments, commercial food service establishments. We are excluding state hospitals when you look at that line item there, speaking to state agencies, and that was added for that reason. To my colleagues, again, this bill very simply creates transparency. What are consumers eating when they eat shrimp? The majority seafood item that people consume overwhelmingly in America is shrimp. And we've had a multitude of problems that many of you are aware of. You have a document on your desk about just some recent issues with radioactive shrimp we discovered that were foreign imports. And this measure would simply require that shrimp are labeled as foreign imports if they indeed are on restaurant menus. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If there's any need to answer questions, I'm glad to do so. This measure did pass 1 year ago here on this House floor with 165 yay votes.
You have some coastal questions and then some inland questions.
Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Staines is recognized for a question to your left.
Thank you, Speaker. Coastal questions are the best kind.
Thank you. Does the gentleman yield?
I yield.
Is it not true that the best place to get the freshest shrimp of our fresh Georgia shrimp is all along the barrier islands of this great state, from Jekyll to Brunswick and the Savannah area?
Yeah. Make sure you move north to my districts. But you are correct, my friend, and indeed, it's important that you know this, and I think you already know this. Our fishermen in Georgia have already seen, just from our discussions a year ago, just from the conversation, and a huge increase in demand for domestic shrimp, Georgia wild shrimp. Thank you, my good friend, for the good question.
Representative Williams from down in Midway, Georgia, is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yield?
I yield to my friend.
Is it not true that for many, many years, Georgians have been eating these imposters without knowing the real taste of the greatest shrimp in the world of coastal Georgia? Is it not further true that many of our colleagues, when we've noticed a sparkle on their ear and in their eyes, it was from eating the wrong kind of shrimp? And is it not true to thank you for saving those who don't know the difference between something swimming around and a real Georgia shrimp?
Thank you, my good
Can't add
my
to
good
that.
friend.
Representative Drenner to your left is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am, I yield.
Isn't it true that I support this bill, but isn't it also true that the cesium-137 detection involved a single sample below allowable limits and that the product was stopped before it entered the country?
Yes, Representative, to your point, that is correct. I think there were several occasions, but that may well be true. I would remind the body that 0.7% of foreign imported shrimp are inspected by the FDA. So I wonder how many shipments weren't found because we inspect 0.7%. Thank you for your good question.
Another inland question, Representative Reese. Well, they have fresh water over in Columbus. I'm interested in this question. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir. I yield to my friend.
Isn't it true that we know here in our state and our country the standards in which we hold our food product, which is put in place to make sure that people are healthy, and we don't always know what's coming from food that's imported from other areas? And I supported this bill because I think people should have a choice of knowing where their shrimp is coming from.
Yes, sir, that is true. And indeed, China, which is where much of our shrimp comes from, does not allow the United States to inspect its processing facilities.
Gentleman has a couple. Representative Moore is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am, I yield.
Isn't it true that white shrimp is the official designated shrimp of Georgia, and we should all be eating that instead of going overseas to get our shrimp?
Yes, ma'am. You
And
said a
isn't
lot
it
better than I
also
could.
true that we passed that bill last year?
Thank you, Representative. I appreciate your strong support.
Representative Campbell is recognized for a question. If you have one more.
One more, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am, I yield.
I just am curious to know a little bit more information about the change on lines 12 and 13.
Yes, ma'am.
That this shall not apply to a food service establishment. You referenced hospitals, but also emphasizing the health risks and the rationale for this bill to begin with. So I am curious to understand why that provision would be granted. Seems to me as if patients would be the most at risk.
Yeah, so I appreciate the good question. This was at the request of the department because right now, as you may be aware, our state hospitals are much smaller than they used to be. We've deinstitutionalized, thankfully, across the state. And so, but those individuals now that are in our state hospitals certainly they aren't choosing from a menu. They don't have menus. And so they asked that we exclude them when it got over to the Senate, and we chose to do that. That's basically all I can tell you. We did that at the request of the department. Mr. Speaker, I think that should answer all the questions.
You did a good job answering
Appreciate the
questions.
opportunity. Appreciate all of you. I hope you vote for this measure. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
On the gentleman's motion that the House agree to the Senate substitute on House Bill 117, all those in favor will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? All members voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of House Bill 117, agreeing to the Senate substitute, the yeas are 159, the nays are 8, and the House has agreed to the Senate substitute to House Bill 117. Great discussion, members. Great policy. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 383?
House Bill 383 by Representative Cox of the 28th to be entitled An Act to Amend Title 20 and 39 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to education of minors, respectively, so as to provide for high school student athletes and prospective student athletes to receive name, image, or likeness compensation. This bill has been referred to the Committee on Education. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Representative Brent Cox is recognized to present the bill. The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members of the House. First, House Bill 383. It's the Georgia High School NIL Protection Act. Here's what it is not. It is not that we're allowing NIL to occur in the state. That already happens. So I want to make very clear that because of child acting laws in the state of Georgia, NIL already is in place, and this is more for guardrails around NIL contracts. 2 weeks ago, when we were presenting this bill in the subcommittee, ironically, there was a Georgia high school football player that was a rising junior. This young man had worked diligently over his career to craft his position to go to the next level. He has since had the opportunity to land an SEC contract where there will be a NIL contract waiting him after he graduates from high school. That contract at the moment is roughly $1 million. At the same time, within Georgia High School, this young man was offered a contract in high school sports where his agent was going to get 10% of his contract in high school. However, there was no sunset. This would roll over into the collegiate level and even potentially into the professional level. What this does is it protects these student athletes from having these unended contracts at the collegiate and the NFL level. I had the privilege of working on both sides of the aisle with this, and we wanted to ensure that we were protecting these young athletes to be able to maximize their potential, and also so that, you know, if there's questions, when a student athlete has that money, the parents are the ones who go in contract with this, under child acting laws, and they're also the ones who will be responsible to understand these contracts. The athletic associations in the state of Georgia will have videos on their websites to help educate so that they understand exactly what they're getting into. But I ask for your favorable consideration, and I yield for any questions.
You have a couple of questions. Representative Barnes is recognized for a question. There she is to your left.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, I do.
Thank you for this bill. Will this provide some type of financial literacy for children with this immature mind, hasn't matured fully? I know you're saying the parents are in control of the contract, but are we ensuring that the children know how to manage this money?
Similar to child acting laws within the state, and anyone that's a writer, an artist, a performer, the parents, the guardians with the child are the ones that are going to have to embrace the videos which the athletic associations will be putting out. So that will be the responsibility of the parents and the minors at which they're guardians over.
All right. Does the gentleman further yield?
Yes.
Thank you. How are we going to ensure that They're only using practice, and what are the other limitations? They can only earn this NIL money doing practice and...
So it's name, image, and likeness. They cannot use their high school's logos nor promote their high school. They're promoting their own name, image, and likeness. And it also is to prevent any recruiting that could happen in high school athletics as well.
Thank you for expanding the economic opportunity for our kids.
You're welcome.
Representative Bernal is recognized for a question. To your left.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
Okay, I understand that you're saying that the parent would be in charge, but what if the parent is unethical and they sign on to something for their child? How are we preventing that?
Well, I think that would be under the same law that happens already with child actors and how that's being handled within the state.
Okay, thank you. And also, will the gentleman yield again?
Sure.
You were using an acronym, and I didn't really know what that meant. They helped me. I know it's in the bill, but to help sometime make it clear for other people that sometimes we say the entire word. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Representative Jasmine Clark, recognized for a question to your left.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, I do.
So on line 74, it's very clear that with these NIL deals, if it's with a company, the student athlete can't wear like that logo and things like that. And that makes a lot of sense to me. But I'm just very curious because a lot of these teams that don't have a lot of money often get sponsorships from companies. So how do we reconcile when a company that sponsors an entire team also happens to offer an NIL deal to one of the athletes on that team? How do we reconcile that? Because technically now they wouldn't be able to wear the logo.
Well, it's to wear the logo of the high school, the high school's logo and the mascot. So it's not promoting the high school. It's not necessarily, if you have a brand that has a team contract or an athletic department contract, and then also there's an opportunity for them to want to do an NIL contract individually, that's still within the guidelines. It's not promoting the specific high school that they're representing.
So if they are playing on the field, they could wear the logo. Let's say they got a deal from Zaxby's. I'm just throwing something out there. They could wear the Zaxby's logo on their uniform while playing?
They will not be filming the actual athlete on the field of a game. This is literally name, image, and likeness outside of the actual sport in the athletic event in which they're participating in.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You have one more question, then we have a speaker in favor. You want another question?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I'll take one more.
Representative Irwin is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, I do.
First of all, you spent many hours researching this topic. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
You also spent many hours coaching yourself and involved with these athletes. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
And one more question. Don't school systems already have policy in place and allowed to not allow products to be worn or put on top of their jerseys, advertising groups, so there is a filter process for what they're wearing when they're in school uniforms?
Yes, sir. There's team uniforms which you abide by, and there's not any extra logos or anything else on those uniforms.
Again, thank you for this bill, and I know this is a moving target, but thank you for your research and work on it.
Thank you. I yield the well.
Nice job. You answered a lot of questions and explained the bill very well. Representative Dewey McClain is recognized to speak in favor of the bill. Representative McClain.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. You know, I'm 100% support of this legislation because, as many of you all know, this is something that is well overdue for college, well, for our high school athletes. And the reason I support it 100% is because we have to allow, I guess, young students and young athletes to make a decision. But once they become a college athlete, they should be able to make another decision. And I think that's the problem, and you got to realize what a contract does. And what the author was saying was, if I sign a 5-year contract, you got me for 5 years. And what we're trying to do with this bill is say that you got me till I finish high school, and then I can get me another contract when I go to college. So that's what all this bill does. It is for individual. It's not for a team. It's NIL, which is name, image, and likeness of that person. You can't wear any corporate logos and things like that matching or going along with the uniform. So I wish that we could see all green for this legislation, because this protects our young athletes to make those decisions and can make another decision when they become a college a person. Because you're correct. My parent makes me a deal while I'm a high school senior, but once I become a college freshman, my parent is not going to be making me any decision for me. I'll be making them for myself. But I will take my parents' advice. So, Mr. Speaker, thank you all, and I do yield the well, and I wish everyone would vote yes for this legislation.
Thank you, Representative. I know you know of what you speak, because you've been down this road before. That completes our discussion on House Bill 383. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? Hearing none, the committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? For what purposes Representative Parrish rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, does this bill not, from the prior conversations, show the need for a financial literacy bill for all people?
Sounds reasonable to me.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for the question. For what purposes Representative Barnes rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that with this bill, my 15-year-old son can play football and if he gets an NIL contract, earn uncapped money? But there is a clause in here that distributes it after he graduates, which I appreciate.
I think you read the bill, and good luck with that uncapped money part. Sound like you might do pretty well on that part too. So, have all members now voted? If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of House Bill 383, the yeas are 171, the nays are 0. This bill, having received a requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. All green. Representative McLean, congratulations, Representative Cox. Good bill. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 903? 903.
House Bill 903 by Representative Powell, the 33rd, and others to be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 13 to Title 50 of the Official Code of Georgia Annexated relating the general provisions regarding administrative procedure so as to provide that the Georgia Administrative Procedures Act shall apply to all executive branch agencies. This bill having referred to the Committee on Governmental Affairs, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chairman Alan Powell is recognized to present the bill. Chairman Powell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good afternoon, Mr. Speaker, and ladies and gentlemen of the House. Today I bring a bill to you, House Bill 903. And I'll tell you up front, there's no lobbyist out there, there's no special interest, there's nobody that makes campaign contributions to you that are out there endorsing this bill or fighting it for or against. The press back there, they'll probably report very little about it because there's no sensationalism to it. But this bill is about your rights as an elected legislator. as one of the three branches of government, for too long, this House has been derelict in its duties. That dereliction due to the bureaucracy of the state that passes rules and regulations that we don't have oversight to. The bill in front of you today is, quite frankly, it's very simple. It's very straightforward and very objective. It says that every state agency, board, and authority will be subject to the Administrative Procedures Act. What is the Administrative Procedures Act? This isn't anything new. It's in Georgia Code. The process has been in Georgia Code for years. And if an agency or an authority or a department passes a rule or a regulation, then first they have their hearings. If it's submit their rule or reg, they do the hearings. Upon passage of that and public input, then it's sent to the Secretary of State's office to be printed. And then it's sent to the Legislative Council. Legislative Council then determines which committee in the House and which committee in the Senate should have oversight, such as Ways and Means. A tax bill would go to Ways and Means and various things like that. When it goes to the assigned to that committee, then that committee looks at it, looks at the rules and the regs to determine whether it has what the intent of the legislature was. It's unilateral in nature. The Senate can stop it or pass it forward, and the same in the House. Once it's brought up, then if it's a minor regulation that has no effect of the law, then it usually passes right on. There's no objection. If there's an objection to it, it stops that process until that chairman calls his committee in, and then it's committee action on it to see whether it has the effect of law. You know, it's not a very sexy bill, but I will tell you that this is something that gives you the authority that you go back home, and when people ask you, what are you doing? You're not just passing laws. You're doing something to ensure that those laws and rules and regs are properly interpreted, not something that's dreamt up by a bureaucrat or anything such as that. Now, I'm going to ask you, if you would, to vote in favor of this bill. I've been one that's been a product of this House and the legislature for years. I believe in the three branches of government. The judiciary is not included in this because that would be unconstitutional. But it's basically all of those executive agencies that have those authorities. We have a flawed system in a way that we come to this body as prescribed by the Constitution for 40 days. And we're here and we pass laws, but when April the 2nd of this year comes, just like dates in past years, when you leave this body, you don't know what the bureaucracy does. Your constituents might call you to ask you about some rule, and how many times over my tenure of office have I had people say, this law that you passed? I said, well, no, I didn't pass that law. Then to come to find out that it was a rule and a reg that was put forth that had the effect of law. So these are the things that mean a lot to your elected duty. It's time that we start doing these things and taking it very serious of what we do. Mr. Speaker, I would be grateful to the people in this House if they would all vote unanimous, if they can, because I'm a true believer that each and every one of us here, despite partisanship or anything else, this affects every member of this legislature, every member, that you can go back home and you can finally say, we're scrutinizing what we do. We're following up on it. And I would appreciate your support because I truly believe at the end of the day, every one of us, all 180 members in here, we only have our duties and obligation to one group, and that's the citizens that elect us. That's the final tally to it. Mr. Speaker, be glad to answer any questions.
You have several. Representative Evans, Stacey Evans to your left is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I certainly will.
Thank you for talking about the three branches of government. And as you were doing that, it had me thinking about how when we do leave in April, what happens for this bill or any other bill if the governor were to veto it?
Well, you know, we have a system of government that, you know, I believe in the three branches of government. The governor, as prescribed by the state constitution, that's certainly his right to veto or to sign or to let a bill go on into law. I'm hoping that since he is lame duck, this won't affect this governor, and it would go forward from that point forward. If the governor decides to veto it, then we'll come back again. I would like to say that we would do a veto override. But I will tell you that we have a flaw in our Constitution. You know, in our Constitution, there's a prescribed manner to override a veto. But in the realities of it, there's a flaw to it, because once we leave here in the spring, if he vetoes a bill, no governor, not this governor, no governor is going to call us back in to override his veto. And to get 2/3 votes after that 40-day period, it's hard to get those 40. And when we come back in January, usually it's not even on our mind. It's just, let's pass it again and hope for the best. So that being said, I think that maybe at some point, future legislators are going to have to start looking at a revision to the Constitution. My neighbors, that I have a lot of friends that serve in Columbia over in the South Carolina legislature, they have an unusual situation over there that I'm very keen to. They have what's called a veto override session. They work during the legislative session. The governor has that period of time to sign or veto a bill, and then the South Carolina legislature always goes back in the month of May for about 5 to 6 days. And surprisingly, how that keeps a firm operational system with the separation of powers. So,
Will you further yield?
I certainly will.
So you're saying that if the governor were to veto, which I'm sure he would not want to veto your bill, but if he did, the only way we could override it is if the governor called us back in for the purpose of overriding his veto. And isn't it further true that you called him a lame duck governor and not me?
Well, it is what it is. He can't run again. He goes out of office. And I love my governor. I do love my
That's
governor.
evident. So you need to take another question and get off that one. Representative Reeves is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Speaker Burns. Would the chairman yield for a question?
I certainly will.
Chairman Powell, here on the 250th anniversary of America, isn't it true that this bill in 2026 in Georgia says that the people of Georgia and their elected officials and then judges in the 51 circuits, they get to interpret the law, we get to make the law, and not unelected bureaucrats in downtown Atlanta? Isn't that true?
You are so right, and I appreciate that. It's time we start
Chairman
clawing
Werkheiser,
back our
excuse me.
authority.
Yes, Chairman. Chairman Werkheiser, to your left, is recognized for a question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will gentlemen yield?
I certainly will.
I want to thank you for this legislation, and I personally believe after working on literacy and property taxes, this may be the most important bill we do this year.
Quite honest, and I thank you for your comments. You know, there's only a few of us, and I can look around and see some gray hair in here. Well, Gerald's not always gray, but, you know, there's a few of us that's been around.
Gentlemen can't talk about another member. You remember that. You know the rules of this House. Your hair looks great, Dean Green.
You know, again, I thank you for your comments. There's a few of us that's been around a little bit longer than others. And, you know, we have the strongest gubernatorial system in the country. Quite frankly, that is a fact. And once upon a time, when I was first elected, there was a process, and it was called the hearing process on the budget the week before the session started. And I came in as a freshman, and of course Butch Parrish was a senior, and certainly Gerald was at the time. But at that time, it was explained to me that every agency head, any board, anybody, if a member, no matter what your political party affiliation was, if you had a question about policies, not just the budget, then they were told to be at that meeting, to stand in front of the members of the General Assembly to answer questions. Well, somewhere over the period of time, that went away. We had a governor once upon a time that told department heads, you don't have to go because you don't work for them, you work for us. Well, by golly, we set the budget. We're responsible to the citizens because we run. That's what this is about. When I talk about a clawback of what we're doing, that's what makes this so vitally important. We're only here for a brief time. I don't own that seat, neither do y'all. There'll be people that's going to follow up behind you. And if we can do anything that's more important than to start putting some authority into what we are given by the Constitution as a third branch of government, I do not know what it is. I do not.
Gentleman, do you have one more question?
Certainly, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman's been here for a day or two himself. Representative Williams, Al Williams, to your left is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yield?
I certainly will.
I want to commend you because you're one of the few people I know in this house who have just said what you've said. That's unfortunate. When I came here 23 years ago, the most shocking thing I heard was if you had an idea, the first question was, does the department approve of this? And nobody from the department voted for me. But I still hear that. Thank you for having the guts to say that, because I remember I was working for the lieutenant governor when folk came here. They had to face the legislature, and departments had to answer questions. Now, we seem as though the people send us here to give an okey-doke to everything. Thank you for your guts. And I didn't come here to be popular. I came here to represent the citizens of the 168th House District.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you.
Gentleman has no further questions.
Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I think this is something I'm very impassioned about, and I think you should too. Maybe as I reach the end of a career and don't think that I'm leaving, I won't do you that favor. I only figure I've got another 10 or 12 years left and maybe a little bit longer. But during my tenure, I would like to see this House scrutinize those rules and regulations that have the effect of law. I would like to see all of these bills that we pass, that we know what we passed and we know why we passed them, but when they are interpreted and rules and regs are put forth, I say, what bill did they pull this out of? This is something that you can put to your tabs when you're answering those constituent calls that you get about these obscure rules and regs. Mr. Speaker, I spoke too long, and I want the governor to know I still love him. And I would certainly appreciate your favorable consideration.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for bringing the bill, and thank you for presenting the bill, and thank you, members, for the questions. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of House Bill 903, the yeas are 168, the nays are 3. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Well, that would be a good way to end it up, but we have another couple of pieces of business we need to tend to. Chairman Todd Jones is recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 414.
Representative Todd Jones moves that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 414. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption?
House Bill 414 by Representative Jones, the 25th and others, to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 5 of Title 21 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to government transparency and campaign finance, so as to revise the definition of person to include certain non-residents of the state.
Chairman Jones is recognized to explain the Senate substitute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, this body, toward the end of last year, voted overwhelmingly for House Bill 414. It went over to the Senate, and this year we went ahead and we made one important change. If you could move to lines 73 through 82, we wanted to make sure that whether or not you were an in-state actor or an out-of-state actor, that there was a prescribed due process mechanism placed in, and that's exactly what 73 through 82 does. Mr. Speaker, that is effectively the primary change to the substitute.
Gentleman has no questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I would appreciate your favorable consideration.
Nice job. On the gentleman's motion that the House agree to the Senate substitute House Bill 414, all those in favor will vote yes, those opposed will vote no, and Mr. Clerk will unlock the machines. All members voted? All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the gentleman's motion that the House agree to Senate substitute on House Bill 414, the yeas are 169, the nays are 0. And the House has agreed to the Senate substitute to House Bill 414. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of House Resolution 251.
House Resolution 251 by Representative New of the 40th and others, a resolution proposing an amendment to the Constitution so as to provide that all probate judges shall be elected in nonpartisan elections. This resolution having been referred to the Committee on Judiciary, that committee recommends that this resolution be adopted.
The lady from the 40th, Representative New, is recognized to present the bill. Representative Kimberly New. Ladies recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, members. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today about House Resolution 251. This resolution proposes an amendment to change the Constitution that would ensure all probate judges are elected in nonpartisan elections. It includes a plan for this change to be approved or rejected by the citizens of Georgia by putting it on the ballot for them to decide. Judges should be running nonpartisan because we need to maintain the public's confidence in an independent judiciary. Requiring some judges to run in partisan elections make it difficult for them to comply with the Code of Judicial Conduct and maintain impartiality and the appearance of impartiality. They are the only judges now that have to run partisan. And out of 1,600 judges in Georgia, 53 run partisan. For parity, we need to move forward and allow these judges the opportunity to run nonpartisan. This resolution is brought to us and supported by the Council of Probate Court Judges, the Council of Magistrate Court Judges. Both councils are here today with us in the gallery. It is also supported by the Judicial Council of Georgia, chaired by Chief Justice Nels Peterson, who said during his State of Judiciary address to us last week, this bill was a priority for them. And we also have support from two amazing Georgia leaders, former Georgia Governor Nathan Deal and Roy Barnes, who have co-authored a letter of support for this legislation. I've placed a copy of this letter on your desk for your consideration. This is the bill. Do you have any questions?
Lady has a question, and then we have a couple of folks who are going to speak in favor. A couple of members are going to speak in favor. Representative Jasmine Clark, to your left, is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentlelady yield?
I will.
So you mentioned that the overwhelming majority of probate judges in the state of Georgia are already running in nonpartisan elections. How did they come to run in nonpartisan elections, and we're left with only these 150 or so that are not? What was the process for that?
Okay, so it would come through local legislation. Is how that happened. Yes,
Does the
ma'am.
gentlelady further you?
I will.
So has the local delegations for the remaining, I guess, counties or the places where these judges are, why have they not just introduced local legislation? Would that not be a lower burden of getting this through?
Thank you for the question. So they went to their councils, and they spoke through their councils in hopes that they could get this done.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the question.
Lady has one more question. Representative Al Williams will be your last question to your left.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentlelady yield?
I will.
Let me answer is it not true to my distinguished colleague that asked why it had not been done? Simply, the time has come now. It's not always the case. My county has a probate judge of 52 years who has been elected continuously as a Democrat. She would be elected as an independent. She'd be elected as a Republican. We've chosen not to do it by local legislation, but I, for one, am convinced that this is what the citizens want, and it is a fair time to give it up. I've shedded a tear or two, but I will regretfully give up the partisanship of my beloved probate judge in Liberty County, and I know she's grieving now, but I will be supporting your bill.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your comments.
Lady has no further questions.
Thank you for your time, and I ask for your favorable consideration on this resolution. Mr. Speaker, I yield the well.
Ladies yielded well. Thank you for bringing the bill. Representative Ann Allen Westbrook. Ladies recognized to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good afternoon, colleagues. I rise today to speak in favor of H.R. 251, and at the close of my remarks, I will ask you to join me in voting yes. I decided to speak in favor of this legislation for one reason, and that's the rule of law. More specifically, I believe we are facing an existential crisis about the future of our country. Will we remain a rule of law country? Will we remain a democracy? Or will we accelerate the process many legal scholars believe has already begun and tip further into something more like a competitive autocracy? In autocracies, sure, they have elections and they have courts and they have journalists and the external hallmarks of a democracy, but none of it's really trusted, and therefore none of it really matters. The outcome of this crisis, what I believe is a crisis, will be shaped by the choices leaders make, including in rooms like this one. One of the bedrock institutions of rule of law countries is an independent judiciary. I was encouraged last week when Chief Justice Peterson joined us and delivered his State of the Judiciary address and began his remarks with a defense of the rule of law and a charge to all of us in this chamber to defend it. Because as he stated, no one should be above the law's requirements or below its protections. Amen. I appreciated his remarks, and I'm making my own remarks today because I believe there is no amount of being reminded about the rule of law that is sufficient for this moment we are living through in our history. We are in a moment where the president, the most powerful leader in the country and probably still the world, although stay tuned, the president called for the impeachment of a federal judge who ruled against his administration in court. A sitting judge was arrested for insisting that ICE agents obtain a judicial warrant before making arrests on her courthouse property. This administration has defied numerous court orders, astonishingly including a unanimous opinion by the U.S. Supreme Court. I believe every American should be alarmed, and every leader should be countering the message that the law itself doesn't matter. All that matters is what team's jersey you're wearing, and of course dominating your opponent while you're wearing it. In my experience in the legal profession in this state, our judges do not wear jerseys. Their jersey is their oath to uphold the law. Undermining and dismantling institutions is not conservative, and it is not democratic. It is radical and nihilistic and destabilizing. As leaders, we should reject it regardless of our party. I believe if our democracy is to survive, and I use the word if very, very intentionally because I do not stand here brimming with confidence about how this crisis resolves. But if we do continue as a rule of law country, it will not be because we preserved our preferred partisan status for a small subset of judges in a subset of Georgia's 159 counties, as my colleague from the coast just spoke to. It will be because we all, regardless of our own partisan identification, redoubled our commitment to the rule of law. And an independent judiciary is absolutely essential to the rule of law. I ask you to join me in voting yes on H.R. 251, and Mr. Speaker, I yield the well.
Ladies yielded the will. Representative Stacey Evans is recognized to speak to the bill. Representative Evans. I'm sorry, speak to the resolution, my bad.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning or almost afternoon, colleagues. I rise in support of H.R. 251 for a simple reason. The law is not partisan. The application of the law should not be partisan, and judges should not be partisan. All judges, no judges should be partisan. That's simple. That seems like the bill should be very simple to support. But I'm old enough to remember when most Republicans in this chamber did not support nonpartisan election for judges. I'm old enough to remember being in a Republican-controlled local delegation where the probate judge wanted the probate judge election to be nonpartisan. The Republican members would not support that local legislation change, and so it wasn't until there was a change in that county party makeup that judicial office became nonpartisan. Now, this reminds us that county electorates change. A lot of them have changed. They've changed and they continue to change. And I think that's what leads us here today to some feelings changing on whether we should have nonpartisan elections or not. Now, that's not true for everybody. There are members in this body and across the hall and throughout our state who feel very strongly that if you put your name on a ballot, you should put a partisan label next to it, that it's information to the voters. And I respect that when it's across the board, when it's not for gamesmanship. But unfortunately, in this body, I have seen way too many times political gamesmanship with local legislation. It happens every session. The only thing that changes is which delegation. Which delegation is controlled by members of the majority party and which delegation is not. Look for the one that's not, and that's where you'll find the games. That's not the kind of legislation I came down here to pass. And so that's why, as much as I know that there are folks that are not being intellectually honest with this, that are playing political games with this, again, not everybody, that's not me. And I don't think it should be any of us. So I'm here to say, gamesmanship aside, this is the right policy. And because it's the right policy, it's that simple for me. And I also come down here to hold my own self accountable. And I've done this before. Because here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Just like county electorates change, state electorates change too. This one is a changing, and it's going to keep changing. And the majority makeup in here today is not going to be the majority in here forever. And I hope one day, if the voters of House District 57 see fit to send me back down here, and if I am fortunate enough that my colleagues think that I should be a chairman or have some more power in this chamber than perhaps we in the minority have now, that I will stand on principle, and I will stand on good policy, and I will not do what I have seen in my 12 years here, where policy changes based on partisanship. Because you know what? Good policy doesn't change. The rule of law shouldn't change. Fairness shouldn't change. And so just as I've done before, particularly in the area of redistricting, where majority means all, I want to hold myself accountable, because that's not the leader I will be. I hope you will join me today in voting for good policy and for the rule of law, and vote yes on H.R. 251. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield the will.
Ladies, yield to the will. That completes our discussion on House Resolution 251. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the adoption of the resolution? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this resolution now be adopted? All in favor of the adoption of the resolution will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Resolution 251, the yeas are 147, the nays are 20. This resolution, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore adopted. That completes our rules calendar for the day. We'll move on to afternoon orders. Representative Mac Jackson and Chairman Corbett. Representative Jackson and Corbett. I'm sure Representative Jackson will be here in a few minutes. We'll go to Chairlady Darlene Taylor, recognized for an afternoon order. Chairlady Taylor. Couple of minutes, max.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, in honor of Black History Month, I bring you the story of a remarkable African-American woman, Edna K. Williams. She was born in 1896 in Philadelphia. She was the daughter of a laborer and grew up in South Philadelphia in an immigrant and African-American neighborhood. She would face many obstacles in her life, but she never let it get her down. She attended high school and later went on to become a stenographer, a reasonable expectation for women at that time. But she had other dreams. Between 1918 and 1920, she married, had a child, got divorced, and got remarried. In 1922, she decided to go to medical school. And despite the odds, at the age of 30, Dr. Edna K. Williams graduated from the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine. She was the second African-American woman to graduate from PCOM. She practiced in urban areas of Philadelphia, New Jersey, and Washington. She practiced for nearly 60 years. She tried to retire at age 90, but continued until age 92. She was quiet and soft-spoken, but firm and with a warm, kind-hearted spirit. She had to work hard to persevere to go through medical school. In this day, when we are in such need of physicians, her story can give us hope, and for those who want but sometimes lose sight of the end success. Remember Miss Edna, perseverance, determination, tenacity. I have a sign in my office that reminds me daily. It said, "She believed she could, so she did." Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Chair recognizes Representative Jackson and Representative Corbett for an afternoon order.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Today I rise to say thank you to the Rural Caucus for the generous contribution for a scholarship to Georgia College Foundation in honor of these two young children. On September 27, 2024, Little Harmony Leandra Taylor and Derek DeQuan Taylor were killed in the Hurricane Helene. In honor of them, the Rural Caucus has contributed a scholarship fund to Georgia College and State University in Millersville, Georgia, in honor of them. This scholarship will be presented to a student from Washington County in honor of Harmony Leandra Taylor and Derek DeQuan Taylor. And I want to thank Chairman Corbett and the rest of the Rural Caucus for this generous donation in honor of these two young children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mac. We also, the Rural Caucus, did a scholarship for Miss Donna Hart, school teacher from Clinch County that I knew very well. She passed away in the hurricane as well, but I'd like to say just a few words about her, if you would indulge me, please. Members of the House, today I want to honor the remarkable life of Donna Hart, a dedicated educator whose passion for teaching touched countless students. Donna was not just a teacher, she was a guiding light in her community. Tragically, we lost Donna during the devastation of Hurricane Helene. Let us remember her not only for her commitment to education, but also for her kindness, resilience, and joy she brought to everyone that knew her. The scholarship was in her honors at VSU down in Valdosta. So if y'all would, y'all bow with me, let's give her a moment of silence. Thank you. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to the Rural Caucus for your generous contribution.
Members will remain standing for the next afternoon order. The chair recognizes Chairman Smith.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of this House, I rise today to honor the life and legacy of a good friend of ours, Mr. Donnie Adrian Lee, who died at the age of 83 peacefully on February the 4th. He was born in Kansas, Georgia. He was a longtime member of Bethlehem Methodist Church in Bremen for 34 years. Mr. Lee served the people of Georgia through the Georgia State Board of Pardons and Paroles. Over the course of his career, he held positions of increasing responsibility, including executive leadership and field operation roles in Northwest Georgia. His last assignment was during the 1996 Olympic Games, where he was the law enforcement venue commander for the boxing events completed during those 96 Olympics. In addition to his work, he made a lasting impact on Georgia's musical heritage. He was a talented multi-instrumentalist, and he helped launch the Bullsboro Bluegrass Band and later co-founded the Bluegrass Festival in Noonan, Georgia. Mr. Lee was survived by his daughters, whom we send our prayers to, Miss Lisa Steed, Lori Hammond, and his stepmother, Alicia Lee. Members, if you would, bow with me in a moment of silence to remember our good friend, Mr. Donnie Lee. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Ali for an afternoon order.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members of this House, on the screen, you are looking at Bryson. Born in 2012, he is a child up for adoption. And for those listening, he is a fan of all things sports, loves math and science, is a stellar student, and in his spare time can be found playing Monopoly with his friends. But further, a difference can be made in his life, not just through legislation, but through getting him adopted into a family. And it is possible for us to do it, and so I am encouraging all of my fellow representatives and for those listening to go to itsmyturnnow.dhs.georgia.gov to make a difference not only in Bryson's life, but for the other children up for adoption as well. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Williams for an afternoon order.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Glaze and I rise this evening to just recognize a very important member of our families in Liberty County. He now resides in Chicago, and he's president and CEO of H.G. Jones and Associates, one of the premier companies for childhood, early childhood education and mental deficiencies. He does a multiplicity of things, and we're certainly glad to have him. He's the cousin of my distinguished colleague, Representative Glaze. His father and I have been friends over 50 years. He is a product of Liberty County who's just taken a long route through Chicago to come back home. Representative.
And I do want to say, we let the elder in the house do the recognition, but this is family. I'm honored to have Henry with us today. We love you and we're so proud of you.
Please, thank you very kindly. And Representative Buddy DeLoach has known him all his life.
Chair recognizes Representative Moore for an afternoon order.
All right, Macon people, where are you? So colleagues, I'm sure you noticed this wonderful album on your desk. Everybody. Did you happen to notice that the picture on it is the Macon delegation themselves? Okay, well, this was being placed on my desk, and the young man, he's a doorkeeper. He is at SCAD University. His name is Samuel Kim, and he came over to school me on a piece of vinyl. And while I listened to him for about 20 minutes tell me how vinyl is made and how it is recorded music on it, and you can hear it when you put a needle on it, I was inspired to let you all know that there are some kids out here who don't know and have never seen an album in their life. And so I wanted to recognize him because he's so smart. William, come here. Come on, you can come right here. You can stand right there. This is Samuel. Samuel, he is a student at SCAD University. I do believe today maybe he'd be the first time that he has ever held an album in his life. But he asked me, did I know who the Temptations were? And I told him, yes, I do believe that Al Williams might have babysat them. He's going to come to you. That's Al Williams there. But how special that our teenagers and our young people have never seen an album in their life. I told him the next time he listens to the music that says, put the needle on the record, this is what that means. So go back, and if you don't want to listen to it and you don't have a record player, please take this and show this to the young people. This is how we do it. Congratulations.
Chair recognizes Representative Berry for an afternoon order.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I was supposed to do this in the morning, but we were busy. I have some students here with us today from the AUC and from across the state for College Affordability Advocacy Day. They talked to some of y'all in the Higher Education Committee. Affordability is, of course, the talk of the town in the State House. And so when we talk about affordability, we have to include college students in that conversation as well, who see increasing economic pressures, everything from housing to tuition. And so I hope you all get the chance to talk to some of those students today about what we can do to make their life more affordable. We also have Swipe Out Hunger with us, which is a national organization that stands up campus pantries across this country. And so just say hello to them when you see them in the hallway and tell them we're making their life more affordable and let them talk to you about how we make life more affordable. So go ahead and stand up. Go ahead and stand up, y'all, and be recognized. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
That ends our afternoon orders. The clerk will read the caption to a group of privileged resolutions.
Honoring the life and legacy of Ron Shipman. Honoring the life and memory of Ricky O'Neill Newton. Honoring the life, service, and historic legacy of John Raymond Terry, retired superintendent of Talbot County. Honoring the life and memory of Sam R. Mahan. Recognizing and commending Edna Branch Jackson, recognizing February 2026 as American Heart Month in Macon-Bibb County, recognizing March 10th. 2026 is Georgia Limb Loss and Limb Difference Awareness Day at the state capitol, recognizing and commending Brian Goldston, recognizing Severe Weather Preparedness Week and commending the meteorologists in the public and private sectors alike, recognizing and commending Baldwin Elementary School on the occasion of its 10th anniversary, and honoring the Living London Beauty Baldwin for which the school is named, recognizing and commending the Consul General of India in Atlanta for their recognition and celebration of Black History Month, recognizing and commending the Gwinnett African American Caucus, recognizing and commending Stephen Adebangi Adekoye, commending F. Dubois Bowman on his inauguration as 13th president of Morehouse College, and recognizing February 11th, 2026 as F. Dubois Bozeman Day. Commending Reverend Herman Skip Mason on his investiture as the 12th president of the Interdenominational Theological Center, and recognizing March 3rd, 2026 as Reverend Herman Skip Mason Day, recognizing the work of Swipe Out Hunger, and recognizing February 11th, 2026 as Swipe Out Hunger Day at the state capitol, recognizing Nicole Boynton, and recognizing the Lunar New Year celebration. And for other purposes, that completes the reading of the privileged resolutions.
Before we move to announcements, I'm going to ask the chairman to move their meetings back 1 hour. All meetings will be moved back 1 hour. Is there any objection to adopting the privileged resolutions? The chair hears none. The resolutions are adopted. Now we'll move on to announcements. The chair recognizes Representative Cannon for an announcement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Had it on your desk today, but on behalf of the Sportsman's Caucus, we're having our annual Range Day on February 24th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Freedom Shooting Center. Will be ammo provided, food provided, Any first-time shooters or novice shooters are invited. We'll have instructors there for proper instruction. It'll be a good time. We're also going to have a fly fishing event later in the year. So we'll get you more on that date, but February 24th, 5 to 7 p.m. at the Freedom Shooting Center in Atlanta. Short drive from here. Please come. Have a good time. Thank you very much.
Chair recognizes Representative Hilton for an announcement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As a first-time shooter, I'm glad to hear that there'll be safety there. Tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, you will have constituents here at the Capitol wearing life vests. Don't worry, the Chattahoochee is not swelled over. It is Boaters Day at the Capitol tomorrow, Thursday, February 12th. Please join them at 7 a.m. in room 216 for biscuits and boats. Tomorrow, 7 a.m., room 216. Thanks.
Chair recognizes Chairman Cormant for announcement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Rural Caucus is meeting down at the Ag Building. Lunch will be served. Thank you. See us there. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Adenia for an announcement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. The Georgia Legislative Black Caucus will be having a meeting today at 3 o'clock in CLOB 310. CLOB 310 at 3 o'clock. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Werkheiser for an announcement.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The House Industry and Labor will meet today at 4 o'clock in CLOB 506. Thank you very much.
Chair recognizes Chair Smith for an announcement.
Good afternoon, colleagues. We're going to have a House Natural Resource and Environment Committee at our regular time tomorrow, 8 o'clock. That's the 12th. We'll have one bill to take up, and we'll be hearing from the Georgia Environmental Finance Committee. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Bonner for an announcement.
A House Defense and Veteran Affairs Committee hearing today at 3 p.m. or 1500 for all the military types, CAP 132. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chair Camp for an announcement.
Thank you. The House Judiciary Juvenile will meet today at 2 o'clock in room 403 upstairs. 2 o'clock today. We have 2 bills to vote on, so please plan to attend. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Crow for an announcement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The House Public Safety and Homeland Security Committee will now meet at 2 o'clock today rather than 1. Room 506 of the CLOB. We have 4 bills, so we appreciate your attendance. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chair Hagan for an announcement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Rural Development Committee will meet today in room 515 at the CLOB. It was originally scheduled for 2 o'clock, but we will be meeting today at 3 o'clock. We have a bill we'll be discussing, but it is a hearing only, but I'd really appreciate it if members would be there to discuss this resolution. Thank you.
That concludes our announcements. The House Majority Leader is recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that this House stand adjourned until Thursday, February 12, 2026 at 10 o'clock a.m.
On the motion of the Majority Leader that this House stand adjourned until 10 a.m. Thursday, February 12th, all those in favor will say aye. All those opposed will say nay. Ayes clearly have it, and the House is adjourned.